And we are live. What's going on, guys? Spencer Clays here. In today's video, we're going to talk about a lot of things. I kind of had a few topics set up, but we're just going to spitball. Got my little sword here because I have massive ADHD and I can't really do any one task without like fiddling with something. It's been that way since I was a kid. And I remember, I had so many different teachers when I was young. They would always be like, sending me out, sending me to the principal's office, all this stuff, and getting in trouble. But then I remember I had one teacher that she was like, okay, he has a bunch of things. I'm gonna let him do all those little projects. So she gave me 2 desks, I remember. And one desk I had like filled with like little tiny science projects. And it was cool. I remember like in science too, I had like some of the best projects. Like I would win like, if we had like a fastest car or best airplane, like I would always win those things. But it was because that my teacher had allowed me to be creative, be myself. And so honestly, that's kind of gonna lead us into today's topic. So today's topic, we're talking about entrepreneurship, and because like this whole week has been kind of like, it's been up and down, and that's business, that's life. I run a home service business. We do roofs, gutters, and a lot of it's kind of weather dependent. The other day, it was pissing rain. I went to do a job, pissing rain, and it was miserable for the first like 30 minutes. And then boom, like a switch, beautiful. It's like it is now. It's sunny, it's a beautiful day, and we don't get that many of those out here in Washington, especially when it's still technically winter. And the point is just like being outside, being in nature teaches you a lot about yourself and about how life should be. Next week, I'm gonna go fishing, and we go out to the coast of Washington. We're talking waves, and we're in this it's an ocean going kayak. It's pretty funny. Well, I'll have to make a video about it. But so we go out in this kayak. It's a really loud helicopter flying. But we go out in this kayak, and I don't care who you are. Like there's sometimes in your life where you need to be afraid. You need to be afraid for your life. And this teaches you so much about yourself. And, being out in the elements, you learn that there is no constant in the universe. The universe is always changing. We're on a ball of freaking iron floating through space, surrounding a sun, spinning at, thousands of miles per hour. There's nothing constant about the universe. And so we need to realize this in our little human brains, that we can't control our businesses, we can't control our partners, we can't control our country, we can't control anything. The only certainty in this life is that we're going to die. Like that's quite literally the only certainty, or death and taxes, as Benjamin Franklin said. And so it's kind of once you realize that, and that for me, it makes me insanely grateful for everything that I've had. And for you yourself, if we look back, we're always worried about this and that, like, oh, I need to make this more money. I need to do this thing. I need to pay this and that, bills, taxes, whatever. We get so bogged down by all the little things that are not ideal when we forget about the 99.99% of things that have gone amazing in our life. And for me, I can just literally, anytime I've needed something, it always happens. Like anytime I've needed a job, or for my home service business, like I put out the right work, or put out the right Facebook ads, yard signs, Google, whatever, boom, things just kind of magically appear, and everything's always worked out, right? And it's just, we get so it's so annoying how humans, we perceive one bad thing more than like 100 good things. I think Alex Hormozi just posted a video that Disney did some sort of experiment. They realized in a movie they needed 37 magical moments to outdo one single sad moment in the movie. And that's a pretty good reflection of life. We, as humans, we need 37 good things in our day to rule out one single bad thing. And so just being really grateful. Just recently, I've been reading my Bible every morning, and just trying to be really grateful and attracting these amazing things that I already have in my life. And just, a lot of us, we want more and more and more, but for what? Because at a certain point, everyone that has more than you still has problems. No one on this earth doesn't have problems. Everyone still is worried about this and that. And it reminds me of a story in the Bible too, that was kind of today's original topic, but kind of went on a long tangent. But we're talking about faith, and we're talking about the gifts that we've all been given, right? And so there's a parable in the Bible, the parable of the 3 talents. So there's a master that has 3 servants, and so he gives one of them 5 talents. And talents, I guess, it's the local currency at the time. He gives one 5, he gives another 2, and he gives another 1. And so he goes out for a year. He's like, hey, grow this and I'll be back. And so he comes back after like a year, The first servant's like, hey, you gave me 5, I invested it and I doubled your money. Now here's I have 10 talents. And the master's like, awesome, thank you, you good and faithful servant. And then the second servant is like, you gave me 2, I invested it and I doubled and made 4 talents total. So the master's like, thank you, you good and faithful servant. And then the last servant is like, I was afraid and I didn't want to lose your money, so I buried it in the backyard. Here's your original talent. And he thought that, maybe the master wasn't, as long as he didn't lose the money, right? But the master was like, you wicked, lazy servant, is something along those lines. And obviously that specific language, talent, it is very, very similar to all of us. We've all been given talents. We've all been given things in this life that not only we need to be appreciative, but we need to spread out to the world. And I'm doing that right now. I'm making videos. I've always been pretty good at speaking, or, a little bit, if you guys can follow my, my rants and such. But being good at, everyone is good at certain things. And literally no one on earth can do what you do. Like, you are, if you ever just look at it, like, this is kind of weird, but like, have you ever just seen like a person that you're like, wow, this person, like, there's not ever been a single person like this ever that has ever existed. I'm here on the same planet at them at the same time. Like, it's kind of like a weird thought process. Having a kid as well, it's like, wow, there's trillions of different like little micro events that have led to this decision. Like, my son is quite literally a miracle. And so I don't know, this whole video today is just really just being in the moment, present, abundant, and thinking in just gratitude. And when you really think about this, all the problems go away. Like, you're worried about this, like worried about that. Things are always going to happen. That is a constant of life. We are on like I said, we're on a spinning ball. And another analogy I had this is, we are all basically in the middle of a vast ocean. I like to think of it. We're all in, kind of going back to the kayak. If you've ever been on water, on a boat, on a ship, you know that no matter how big your boat is, the ocean's bigger. Like, no matter how much you think you're in control, we little humans, we have zero control. We're basically like these ants that are trying to, do things on this world. And so in life, people try and mitigate the risk. They try and get a little bit of semblance of control by hitching their vessel, their little boat, to a bigger vessel, a bigger ship, like a corporation, the government. People try and get these safe, quote unquote, jobs. But that boat is also in the same ocean as you, right? Like, you guys are, and then, so now you don't have any control over your destination. You don't have any control over what the big boat does. You're just being pulled along. Yeah, there's a little bit more security. Like, they send you money in this example, and that can be nice, but you can get fired at any time. The boat could go down and you're going down with it. So in my mind, like, why would I hitch myself to another boat that I have no fucking clue if that captain or if that, entity has my best interest in mind, which, they don't care about you at all. I would much rather prefer to be the captain of my own vessel, captain of my own ship, captain of my own soul. There's a great quote for that. I can't remember who it was, but it's like, you were the captain of your destiny and your soul, or something like that. But it's really true. And I mean, that's what God gave us all. He gave us all the same will to do and make choices. And he gave you the same choices as Elon Musk, as Donald Trump, as, any person that you look up to that has done amazing things in this life. All those people, think about what they did. They just embraced their gifts. They went out, they made things happen in the world. They didn't just sit back and wait for, they didn't bury their talent in the backyard and hope and wait for it to grow. They went out, made things happen. They doubled their money, tripled, quadrupled. And God, like, spoiler alert, God loves it. God loves when you use what you've been given. There's another example, and it took me a long time to understand this. And I remember there's another story in the Bible too, and it's where Jesus curses a fig tree. He sees a tree and he's like hungry, and he's walking around in the desert, and he sees a fig tree and he goes up to it, and there was no fruit on this tree, and he curses the tree. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, I was like, that's stupid, it's a tree. But then now that I think more about it, it's, Jesus spoke in lessons, in parables, in stories. He didn't just say, like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, he did, but to really get his message across, he would often do things like that, where he talked about a tree, and he cursed this tree because it didn't produce the fruit that it was supposed to produce. And same with you and me. Like, people who don't do anything in life, like, they have nothing, and honestly, that is an embarrassment, and God would say, you wicked and faithful servant. Another side note, like if you read the book Atlas Shrugged or The Fountainhead, anything by Ayn Rand, she's fantastic at, mentioning things like this. Most people are just parasites. They just want to exist. They just want to be pulled by some other boat. And not saying that that's wrong, not saying that having a job is wrong. You just have to understand what you're doing. You are putting your entire life in the possession of someone else, and that you just don't have any control over. So then when you get fired, laid off, or any of these things that happen to you, and you can feel it deep down, you can feel that you're not happy because you don't have control. And as a man, that is very important. That's one of the most important needs that we all have, is the need to feel that we're somewhat in charge and we have control over our environment. It's one of the biggest factors for happiness. You look at companies, look at employee happiness, and it's how much control does the employee have over their own decisions. And so it's very important. So if you're watching this, you don't feel control in life, I get, like, that's number one, that's fine. And number two, we none of us really do. It's all an illusion. Our houses, like as we saw last month, many people in California lost their homes. Terrible thing. That's life. There's storms, there's natural disasters, there's sickness, and this isn't necessarily meant to be a downer message, but that's just life, man. But the point is, get out, live it as much as you can. Get a freaking sword, like wave it around, like have some fun. Like, I don't know, guys. So that is today's message, today's video. So go out, use your gifts, use what God gave you, go make some freaking money, make people's lives better, make other, like, even making, like, I ended this in another video. It was like, to change the world, start by changing yourself. And then spreading this gift, spreading your gift to even one other single person is an infinite, like, if that person spreads it, it's an infinite chain. It's quite literally a viral effect. So using your gifts, that is what we're all put here to do. So to close this video, start doing what you feel your soul is calling you to do. Start doing the things that make you happy, make you feel fulfilled. Realize that, none of us really have any idea or clue what we're doing, and that's totally okay. So obviously, see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, or don't care. I'll see you guys there. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to the Spencer Clay Show. That's all for now. See you in the next episode. Peace.